Okay, we're going to start our big project. So you have a big sheet of paper. The first thing that you'll want to do with your big sheet of paper is to measure it and see how wide it is and how tall it is. And everybody's maybe a little bit different. It's different from this example that I have here. So what you'll want to do is know your center point. Okay, so you will take half of however wide it is, mark it on your paper, and then measure it from top to bottom and find how tall it is, find the midpoint and mark it so that you have a center reference so that you can do a layout. The example that I have here is one that I did last year, and I split up the word Happy Thanksgiving with the emphasis on the word thanks. Okay, so this is something that you will need to do. You will need to find a phrase that you like. It can be fall, Thanksgiving, winter, holiday related, for whatever holiday that you celebrate. It can be lyrics to a song, scripture, parts of a poem. It's up to you. I have two versions of this. This one is done in black Sharpie, and then I went back over it with a white gel pen and added some shiny highlights. This could also be done if you drew and left blank the white highlights. I felt like that was too tricky for me, so I went over it with a gel pen. Here is the same version. It's a little dirty from being in the art drawer, but I did an ombre effect where I went from yellow, yellow, orange, orange, into red, orange, red, into brown. So I did this with a marker. You could also do it with a color pencil or watercolor. And you could pick whatever color you want to, but these two, I just want to show you, are exactly the same, okay? So the reason why they're exactly the same is I made a template, and that was the one that I marked all up, that I drew all my lines on, that has all my erase marks, and then I transferred and copied my template, and then I had a clean version that I could then decorate, okay? So if you're thinking about doing these as gifts, which these make wonderful gifts, I would recommend doing a template, making sure that your template is the way that you like it, and then transferring so that you have less work to do, and it's okay if you make a mistake. You can just transfer again. So here I have already found my center point, so this will be good to help with the layout of what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do a winter sign that says, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. So the first thing I want to do is find my font, play around with layout before I get started on this big sheet of paper. Okay, so I found a font that I really like, and I'm going to repeat this phrase, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, on my paper. So I'm going to use this as a reference. I may change a few things up, but now I'm going to play with layout. So here I've played with 3 different layouts. So I've kind of done a little blueprint, drew the size of my paper, I centered it just like I have, and then I played with the words let it snow just like in the image I showed you before. Now this isn't the real text, I just kind of wrote it out really quick. But I want to see my placement. So this one I've altered, let it snow, moved it over here to this side, let it snow, moved it down here, let it snow. This one, I've staggered it like stair steps, let it snow, moved it over, center, let it snow, moved it over to the side, let it snow. And then this last one, I've just stacked them on top of each other. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Another option that I just thought about, because I saw this 3 squares stacked on top of each other, I could do an option like a snowman and put it inside of, maybe make that smaller ball short or smaller, the top, the head, make it a little bit smaller, put a hat on it, and I could write the words, let it snow, inside of the shapes. And add a little art to it. So this is called brainstorming a layout, and you're just kind of seeing what works, what doesn't. I think my favorite so far is this one. This is the one I think I'm going to go with. This looks like fun. I might do that as a gift for someone, but I like this one better. So, the first thing that I need to do is to lay out the size and figure out how big this one square needs to be. I only have to draw it once, and I can trace it 3 times in my right places before I put it on my real paper. So I just need to figure out how big this one needs to be. I need to line up, just like we did on this name project. I need to line it up, draw it out the way I want it, and then I can trace it where I want it on this big sheet of paper. Okay, so I was looking at my font, and you can tell that the letters go up and down, like a hilly thing. So instead of having a straight ledger line like we would have for here, so this is a straight ledger line, I have made a curvy one to kind of mimic the up and down flow. So I'm going to write "Let It Snow" in a 5 by 5 square box. I did some measuring, and I think this is how big my letters need to be. And so I have only drawn the baseline and tried to make those parallel so that they go up and down and flow with each other. "Let It Snow" is all lowercase. The word "snow" is all from the X line to the baseline. So I just did my dotted line here to follow this. So my word "snow" is going to fit here and kind of go up and down. The word "let it," the L goes up to the top line, so I've kind of put that in there. And I might move this X line down just a little bit to do "let it" and then "snow." So I got a little bit of the "let it." I haven't put the cross across the T. In my font, it's really cool how the T line that goes across the entire thing. I might end up having to move that I down a little bit. So I got to put my thickness in. And they got a little drop over here on that. But you can kind of play with it and center it up the way that you like it. So you can take some creative liberties. So here I've kind of got the layout done. I like the way it looks. I'm going to see what it looks like inked in before I start tracing it. Okay, so it's not an exact copy, but this is my version. I inked it in. I could probably go in and do a little bit darker if I wanted to, but this isn't my final piece. This is my practice layout. And then now I can trace it into my layout. So what I'm going to do is, just kind of roughly erase my lines so extra lines do not show up in the transfer. So with the transfer, you can use a window, a light box, is the best way to do this. I'm just kind of cleaning that up, and I'll show you how to do a transfer. So I'm using a light box. You can tell we got bright light shining through, so this would be the equivalent of like a glass door, a window, something like that. I have my "Let It Snow" drawn out, and I'm going to position it. Here's my art paper, and you can tell that the back side I have my layout, so that's going to kind of shine through. Let me grab another sheet of paper. Here we go. This one doesn't have extra drawing on it. So I'm putting another sheet of paper on top of this, and I can position and make sure that everything's straight. I want a little bit of a border before I put this because I want to be able to put this into a frame. So I'm going to leave about 1/2 inch of a border, and then I'm just going to trace it. So I'm doing "Let It Snow" in the middle, "Let It Snow," and then off to the side, "Let It Snow." So now I get to trace this in.